Yeah, everything's fine. Hello, everyone. Sorry. We just kind of fizzled the screen for some reason. I wouldn't describe this as like static for a second. So that's why I made that face. I just didn't know what was that. Because it never actually happened before. So I don't know what it was. I think it was just static. um, Hopefully everything's working okay. I tried to be a bit later than that. Hopefully it's working. It should be working. Um, I don't see why it wouldn't be working. It should be working. See, that's the worst thing with scheduling stuff because I scheduled this. I thought it was going to be a few minutes late. I explained in a second what I was doing. So I'm back quicker than I thought it was going to be. See, I originally scheduled this for 45 because many things. What is this? I need to have 6 or 7 hands to do many things. Yeah, okay, it seems to be okay. So obviously the main thing's ready tonight. Obviously the doll first of all, and then we have the U.S. presidential election. No, not U.S. presidential inauguration and all that to talk about. So quite a bit. Hello, Sean. Good evening. How are we doing? So quite a good bit to talk about, yeah. Particularly now, just with the doll and the U.S. election, because obviously we didn't get much time. Monday night to talk about it. So we give it a few minutes anyway for people to get here. I know I'm a few minutes late. Usually be early. But it was a few minutes late. Had somebody ring me from Finland. So that was the reason why I now know what you're going to say. I know, but it's just basically to do. They wanted to find out. I know them from when I was in Finland. They wanted to know what was happening in the Irish Parliament too. Because you might not know it, but it's all over every news channel in the world. Like it was on the Finnish news channel, yeah. So that's what it's just after been on. So they kind of wanted to know more what was going on. So that was the main reason for the phone call. And obviously it's 9 o'clock, around 9 o'clock in Helsinki at the moment, in Finland. So reason why I took the call there, because it would be too late later on. I wouldn't want to keep them up all night. For them to have to ring me back, if that makes sense. That's why I just took the call there. It was there. I left it before, probably I should have. But yeah, pretty much I just said the basics and stuff like that. So that's pretty much where I was for the last few minutes. That's why I was a few minutes late. Pretty much. Even though I thought it would be a bit more later than I am, but all the better, I suppose. Because I didn't know he was going to call me and stuff like that, so we had to kind of sideline a few things. So it worked out in the end, but we're here now. Anyway, so I suppose that's the main thing, as long as we're here now. Have me tea too. So yeah, how are we doing this Wednesday? It's going to be bad weather now the next few days, so I hope nobody's going out camping or fishing or anything like that. You might end up in the lake. We'll just head in the lake too. He's got notifications too, just to check. Because the worst thing about YouTube streaming is scheduling things, because you never know if the thing's going to go out. Hello, Fiona. Good evening. Hello, Gaza. How are we doing? Is rejoicing for the young and free. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Australia. Indeed. So yeah, pretty much. We start in a few minutes. There's a lot to talk about what happened in the doll today. We'll probably start there and then we'll talk about the US elections. When the US obviously elections are in November come by, but good day. How are we doing? All the way down under. Yes, there's a lot to say about what happened to the doll. How Brian? So we talk about the doll and then we move on to the inauguration, etc., the first few days of Donald Trump. We didn't get around the top. Obviously, with everything going on Monday, there's a lot more to talk about that, but we'll get to that later on. I'm not start with that, or we never finish. Let's put it that way. But yeah, so how are we doing? How's our Wednesday going, everyone? How's our Wednesday? Before we get started. No, where was that thing? Just Sorry, just checking to see do I have the stuff I need. So we give the usual thing, we give it 10 minutes at the start just to get people in, etc., etc. I know it was a few minutes late, so my apologies for that. So, some things just happen, yourself. You can't predict it. When people call you and stuff like that. I wish I could have a sixth set. To tell me when somebody was going to call me, stuff like that. It'd be great. I could know in week in advance, so I could arrange stuff and sort it out. But obviously that's not the case. So me too. Did anybody see what happened to the Irish Parliament today in Dáil? Sorry, instead of saying the Irish Parliament, Dáil, and use this proper Irish phrase. Did anybody see it? Because it was pretty fast. We'll talk about it in a second, all the details of it. Hello, Deborah. How are you doing? But did anybody see it? Did anybody watch it? Well, not watch it. I listened to it. I wasn't watching it, but I listened to it when I was at work. Usually, never see me with headphones in. But that was the first time probably in a long time you ever see me with headphones in at work. So the force for everything is now right. So that was it. But I was walking at the same time and listening, but I was not listening to much because the majority of the day was just static because there's not, all of them were left. Like I done a video there too, just when I came home, and then I had to go onto that call. So that should be up now soon, I think. Or maybe it's up already. I don't think so. Maybe it might be up. I don't know. Yeah, it is up. Okay. I might not have went into too much detail on it, but I have it up anyway. Just give my initial thoughts, I suppose, on it. Just want to check a few things out. I'm all over the place. I explain that too later on too. There's a story for that one too. Let me see. What am I looking? No, just double check and see. Is there anything else that I need to add? There's a few smaller things I probably should talk about. If I get a few minutes to myself to talk about. Not to talk to myself now. We're not going to do that. That's okay. Suppose we get started then. I probably should tone this down. It's probably a bit too loud. So it's been quite difficult the last 2 days, since Monday, with following the presidential inauguration, etc., Donald Trump's presidency, and following, as you know, I don't know if you know at the moment, with our good friends in Davos. You owe nothing to be happy people out and about in Davos. So they're about. So I'm listening to what they're saying because it is important to listen to what they're saying, because you want to kind of know what they're doing, what they're planning, in the new world order. Let's put that way. So I'm paying attention to that in the background, what they're saying. Not that I'm really I'm not that I don't care too much for them. I have no respect for any of them. That's in the World Economic Forum. But just you have to hear what they have to say. And there's some shocking things they've said. The fortress signaling, etc., different things. But it's important to listen to what they have to say and take note of what they say, because you have to know what kind of asylum lunatics are there. So that at the same time, along with the dollar, so pretty much my brain's overwhelmed with paying attention to what's happening in the United States, then on local issues. It's quite a lot of information to try and bundle into your head. because it is a lot, and then obviously from Finland at the moment, stuff in terms of that. As we just said, Fiona, we'll talk about it later on. We're not getting into now. We just basically copy and repeat from Monday. Like basically, we'd be just going around in circles. So we start with the Dáil first of all, Dáil. The boys in Dáil. So as we know, so these two Cretans, excuse me, these nice gentlemen are very upset. They won't be able to go to the World Economic Forum tomorrow, so they're very upset that they won't get to see Klaus Schwab's, pretty much what I'm trying to say. So pretty much they should say, very upset, can't see Klaus Schwab's 10 out, not 10 out of 10, but 1 out of 10. Because they kind of look very upset they can't go to the World Economic Forum. Because unfortunately, the good thing about it is, they haven't got chance to go to the World Economic Forum because of the Dáil, etc., because they thought they'd get allowed to be able to fly off to the World Economic Forum on the private jet. Now, this is ludicrous, to be told. So this whole thing started. Pretty much the person to blame is Michael Lowry, the so-called independent, in quotation marks, because if he's an independent, I wouldn't want to see what's an independent, because if you look up the definition of an independent, he doesn't fit any definition of it. He's pretty much a Fine Gael in disguise. He's pretty much undercover Fine Gael, pretty much, and Fianna Fáil. The two of them one the same. If you vote Michael Lowry, you get Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. I don't know why people bother to vote for him, because pretty much if you vote for him as an independent, you get Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And the same with the rural independents. From now on, if you vote any of them, you're voting for Fianna Fáil and voting for Fine Gael. So these two lunatics, and including this fellow that's going to be the Taoiseach, and he's going to be the Taoiseach, and then obviously it's going to be rotating. But anyway, we're not even there yet, thankfully. But yeah, long story short, it didn't work out for them. So yeah, nothing worked basically. So nothing was achieved. There was an almighty shouting match from everywhere. So everybody's very upset, pretty much. Everybody's very angry because of Michael Lowry, as I say. His decision to allow the rural independents to sit on the opposition side instead of the government side, because Michael Healy-Rae and Danny Healy-Rae shouldn't be sitting on the opposition side. They should be sitting on the government side, because they are part of the government. Like, they're hand in hand with the government. They should be sitting on the government side. But why are they sitting on the opposition side? Who knows? And not to mention, too, that they get the opposition speaking rights. So basically, they could take the time off the opposition to speak, etc., which shouldn't happen. Like, let's put it that way. It shouldn't be happening. And obviously, the opposition not very happy, which I will agree. It's pretty much just gaslighting people and trying to fake mirrors, etc., sugarcoat things, as opposed to trying to fool people. That's the nicest possible way to fool people in these rural independents. Like, either they sit in the government benches or sit in no benches, pretty much what I'm trying to say, because they are the government. Hello, Little England. Hello, how we doing? Yeah, like, they are literally just Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. Like, they are. They made the bed, Sean. They've made the bed. They've quite literally made the bed. But it's the fact of the matter, they're sitting on the opposition bench, if that makes any sense. They shouldn't be sitting on it. To be totally honest, they should be sitting on the government benches. If you're going to make your bed, you might as well sleep in it. If you make the deal saying you're going to be in the government, you might as well go and sleep in the bed when you made the deal. When you make the bed, you might as well sleep in it. If that makes any sense. Because why would you claim to be an independent? So there was basically nothing achieved. There was no Taoiseach elected. There was no. We know roughly who's going to be in cabinet positions, but we don't know because nobody was elected. He didn't get the seal from the president, etc., etc. So pretty much nothing was achieved. Pretty much the meeting tomorrow morning is probably going to be the same thing again, shouting match. Because it doesn't seem like anybody's willing to budge on it. So we might be in deadlock for a few months with this, to be totally honest. Which is not much lost and not much addition to the government. But the Irish people voted them in. They're there to do a job. They're getting paid to do a job. They should be there. But that's my opinion on it, I suppose, in a way. But there's no addition at the same time. So everybody's very upset. So, yeah, the opposition TDs threatened to walk out of the Dáil. And then it obviously brings us on to the main thing, Fiona Murphy, the Cam Colour. Now, I was willing to give her a chance. I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. But she's really have shown herself to be Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael in disguise, pretty much. Because if you see the last few seconds of the Dáil today, when they're suspended to tomorrow, pretty much every step of the way, Fiona Murphy was up the government's hole. Excuse my language, but she literally was up me her mountain's hole Excuse me, but quite literally, if you really look at it, especially the last few months, whatever you think about Sinn Féin, the Labour Party, the opposition party, I don't like them. I don't like Sinn Féin, I don't like the Labour Party, but still at the same time, they're elected by the public, the representatives of the people, the entitled to speak. Especially when the ways standing orders, etc., a point of order. The ways that in the Dáil it should be heard. Especially because again, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Fiona Murphy had literally a month to sort this out, to make a decision, and she hasn't done that. So her position is untenable. Like, it's untenable as Cam Collar, and not to mention she can't keep order in the Dáil. Therefore, she should lose her job as Cam Collar, to be totally honest. But they won't do that because pretty much that's benefiting the government. So that was the deal to solve. But yeah, Fiona Murphy's really showing herself up. No, people are too worried. Like, people are talking to the government at the moment when it comes to this. The opposition. But you get what I'm saying? Like, the opposition. Like, why would you sit? Like, it'd be like me, take for example, just for an argument's sake, say we're going to play football, right? A game of football. Right? Why would you play two sides? Why would you put an armband on? Say it was Ireland versus England. You put on an Irish flag and you put on an English flag. You're playing for both sides. Like, who would do that? That's pretty much the same what's happening here. Like, you either pick one or the other. You know, there's no choosing in between, if that makes any sense. But it's the fact of the matter is that they're trying to sugarcoat. Like, the thing about the opposite, like the independence, the rural independence, the regional independence. They're trying to gaslight people. They're trying to hoodwink the people, quite literally. They're trying to fool people. That's like, we have to call it for what it is. Michael Lowry and Danny Healy-Way and Michael Healy-Way are trying to fool people because they know. I'm sure to God anybody in Kerry voted Michael Healy-Way or Danny Healy-Way. They didn't vote for Fianna. I'm sure if I voted independent. Well, a lot of, like, for when in the local, like, what the general elections. Oh, excuse me, I'm getting mixed up. In the general election, I voted for independents. And I wouldn't have voted for them if I thought they would go off and join Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, because at that stage I was better going and voting for Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. Because if you're going to vote for an independent that's going to join Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, you might as well vote Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael when you're at it. Because if you vote for these independents, Michael Lowry, etc., people should know, but Michael Lowry is a bit of a crook, the Manhattan Tribune, etc. But they're really disgraceful. But they're basically just trying to hoodwink the people, because the least they can say if they're on the opposition benches, this is the only thing they want to do. At least they can say, I'm sitting on the opposition bench, I'm not part of the government. That's what they're trying to do. When people come and argue and say why they're with the government, why they're holding up the same bollocks as they were there before. That's the only reason why. So they can try and argue, no, we didn't have anything to do with it. We were in the government. We were in the opposition side. That's what they're trying to do. Trying to hoodwink the people, think people are stupid. That's what they're trying to do, in my humble opinion. I could be wrong, but, Hello, Eleanor. I don't know if I said hello. I haven't got, I haven't seen anything in Portugal at all. Like, I'm getting it out the cover of things in the United States along with here. And then not to mention our good friends in Davos, to try and listen to what they're saying. Not for any good or benefit to me, but just to know what they're discussing. Because it's important to know what they're saying. And to archive what they're saying. But to know what for yourself what they're saying. About the fourth industrial revolution, etc., of course. But yeah, obviously Micheál Martin are very upset too that he can't go to Davos. So he's devastated. He can't see Klaus Schwab, so he's upset. So poor Micheál Martin won't get to see Klaus Schwab. So we should all cry for him because it's a tragedy. He's so sad. He can't see Klaus Schwab. Pity. Because obviously he has to be there tomorrow. But hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know will they go ahead. Like what's going to work out or what's going to happen. Because at the end of the day, they're all still getting paid. Like they're all still getting money. So they might as well work for the money. That's what I'm saying. So it'd be good to see them back doing something. At least just being there. Because at the moment, the time they're on holidays. They're on holidays, arsing about, getting paid thousands. And then they have 2 weeks. If the Dáil is elected tomorrow, they have 2 weeks break. Imagine that. you go back to work and then you go off for another 2 weeks. It's quite ludicrous. Like, it's fucking insane. And then especially because you hear them every night Jennifer Kalman Neal. Oh, there's a big, huge problem with a huge housing problem, huge problems. But we're not that in a hurry to do anything about it. We're just going to wait a month or two. Maybe it'll go away. That's more or less that's more or less what the government's narrative is. But it's quite insane. The shouting match. As I say, I was just talking to somebody from Finland I met over there. It was on the Finnish news channel over there. It's 9 o'clock at night there, going on probably 10 o'clock now. But yeah, it was on the Finnish 9 o'clock news that the chaos in the Irish Parliament, etc., etc. So not a good look too, and not all on the world stage too, because it looks like a charade pretty much. Especially the last few bits with the Cam Caller, not listening, because again the Cam Caller is supposed to be in the middle. You're not supposed to really favour any party. You're there to make sure there's order, etc., etc. People are heard. The chamber can function, etc., etc. You're not supposed to be up the government's hole. And Fiona Murphy's up the government's hole, specifically Micheál Martin's hole, in the nicest possible terms. Like, quite literally, if you really look at the last few minutes of the Dáil today, pretty much it just tells you what you need to know. What about the last Cam Caller, Charlotte Rackley? He was fair enough. He was not the greatest, but reasonable enough. But yeah, this is going to be the case that Fiona Murphy's just up Micheál Martin's hole, then we're going to have problems. Yeah, but I don't think she should be there. I think she's disgraced herself today. And I wouldn't. I usually give people the benefit of the doubt. I've said that before with her. I give her the benefit of the doubt, but to be totally honest, she should probably resign or go or be kicked out. Not of her job like as a TD, but as Cam Caller. Sickening policies, yeah. We see. We don't know who's going to be in different cabinet positions. They're talking about Helen McAtee. Now, this is a shocker. Listen to this bit. Helen McAtee's talking about being Minister for Education. So I don't know about to laugh or cry, to be totally honest. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with Norma Foley. Hopefully they send her to Mars. Hopefully they put her on Mars and keep her there. But unfortunately, Helen McAtee's going to be Minister for Education. Looks to be. Now, we don't know for 100%. We wait and see. But yeah, that's going to be another disaster waiting to happen. She'll bring in hate speech in schools and stuff like that. They try to get arrested in prison and put to school prison if he says anything. That's what they're saying at the moment. The Helen McAtee post likely be the Minister for Education. We don't know what number Foley. Again, she probably be set to Mars because there's no addition. We don't know anything really much. I think they're talking about James O'Callaghan, the Minister for Justice. We see what happens there. I think they're talking about Hildegarde Naughton, the government chief whip, being Minister for Special Education and stuff like that. I don't know about the Department of Finance. I don't know who's going to take over that. I don't know about the Department of Defence. I presume Micheál Martin will keep that. There's no addition in it, but he'll probably keep it in it. Don't know about the community development. We don't know. I suppose we can guess. Department of Health. I think Jennifer Kalman Neal, they said about her becoming Minister for Health. But I don't know. We'll see. But that's only speculation at the moment. Again, we don't know. The main thing, who's going to be Minister for Justice, because they will press this hate speech bill forward at some point. Not saying straight away, but they will do it at some point. They might wait a month. But they definitely will push the hate speech bill. So it's important who gets the Minister for Justice position. So I don't know what Jim McCall, if he does get, they say he will push forward with the hate speech legislation. And obviously there needs to be an ungodly amount of pressure then if that comes up. Hopefully they don't go for it, but I presume they will. The determined to go for it, I say. Because especially they've been emboldened with the amount of numbers they've got. And Rodrigo Gorman sitting on his own. He's in the Green Party. He's in the opposition now. He's on his own. So he's not in any government. He's not anywhere. He's nowhere near anything. I don't know. Actually, speaking of Portugal, I don't know who's Minister for Children. So we wait and see on that one. So I don't know about Norma Foley. I'd love to tell you about Norma Foley. I don't know whether they're probably sick of him. But Helen McAtee be Minister for Education. Apparently that seems to be true, that Helen McAtee could be the Minister for Education. Which probably Helen McAtee shouldn't be anyway, to be totally honest. Getting any minister a job. But we see with Norma Foley, we should probably go in to destroy something else. So we should see, but I suppose nothing's been set in stone yet. But we see. But that's what they're saying at the moment. But the biggest thing is who's going to be the Minister for Justice to do with this hate speech. That's the main thing. And then obviously there's many other things can go on for an hour about it. But that's the main thing, I suppose, for me at the moment. Who's going to be that? Because there needs to be as soon as whoever the person is gets in, if it's Jim O'Connell or somebody else, take example, there needs to be an ungodly amount of pressure put on them not to bring it forward. Like pressure that will probably collapse whoever it is that's Minister for Justice. Because we have to be determined not to bring that in, not to bring in this hate speech legislation. Because the opposition are talking about it's attacking democracy, limiting the opposition speaking time, etc., etc. Like the hate speech bill is attacking democracy too. None of them are willing to say it, but it is the truth. And especially, of course, limiting the rights of people, the opposition to speak, etc., etc., is limiting democracy too. Like it's a threat to democracy too. Yeah, she's Cam McCall. For how long? Who knows? Because she didn't do good today. Look it up later on. Look it up later on. I don't know if you've seen it, but particularly the last one. Look it up. It's very telling. Because literally, I don't like Marilyn McDonald. I'd be the first person to tell you that. I'd be the first person to tell you that. I don't like Marilyn McDonald. But Marilyn McDonald appears started, they were shouting at the Cam McCall like points of order. And the Cam McCall, the Dáil rule says you have to listen to points of order, regardless of who it's from. But still, we got, and then obviously the Labour Party were crying, and the Social Democrats, pretty much everybody's crying on the opposition. But yeah, she wasn't even listening to them. She was looking the other way at the government because she's up the government's hole, pretty much. But yeah, no, pretty much it clearly shows she's favouring the government. And you need a person there that's fair to everybody. That's the main thing. Courtesy of the Green Party. Ho ho! I'll be back. Yeah, if you didn't get around to seeing it, have a look at it because I don't know if you've seen the farce that were on today. Because it is insane. It is quite insane when you really think about it. Yes, pretty much nothing was achieved. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's pretty. There's not really much else to say about it because nothing was said. But we see what happens tomorrow. So the Dáil is back tomorrow at 9:00. We think anyway. It might be 10:00 or so. We see. So we should see what happens. But in my humble opinion, probably the same thing that happened today will happen again. Pretty much what I'm trying to say. I don't think unless they saw off this issue with these people sitting the independents, so-called independents, alleged independents, unless they solve that and work out which bench they're going to sit on, which clearly should be the government side. Unless they solve that, it's going to be uproar from every side. Even the Irish public are not happy about it because if you're in the government, you're in the government. If you're in the opposition, you're in the opposition. You can't choose two. It's the same if you're playing football, as we just said earlier on. You can't just, if Ireland's playing England, you can't just put on the two flags and show them represent the two countries and you're playing the football match. You can't just go and start scoring goals into the two goalposts, on the two teams. You can't do that. That's lunacy. That's pretty much the same what's happening here, like on the two teams, which doesn't make any sense. And it's pretty much hoodwinking the Irish public, taking them for fools in the nicest possible way. So that's that. Is there anything else? So yeah, Mayhem Mountain's claim that's unconstitutional. I think this is the first time in Irish history that a Taoiseach goes unelected on the first day of the Dáil coming back after the election. I think it was. I'm not too sure about that one, but I think it is. I could be wrong, but I think it is. So we should see what happens tomorrow in relation to all this. I don't know what's going to happen. We see. But definitely not a good look, and it's definitely not appropriate that they're going off on the 2-week holiday anyway after it. Excuse me. But yeah, we should see what happens. I suppose we give it time and see. But yeah, no, do look up the videos. I've shared a few of my community posts of it. Because I think you have to see it to believe it. Because it's hard to understate it, but so now we move on to the United States of America. A second. Oh, let me see. Just move this. Sorry, apologies. hardly ever walk, exactly. So, if I was to talk about everything Donald Trump has done in the last, probably, must be 48, more than 48 hours, would it be? Maybe 60 hours, probably, yeah, in the presidency in America. I would be here all day. So, first of all, as you see here, his cats on refugee. Much people seeking asylum, etc. So, it would obviously welcome, because, as you know, the United States Mexican border for a long time was just basically an open border. Uh, Obviously, he's got with the DEI hires. He's pretty much put in the United States the policy that there's only two genders, which I agree with, of course. There's only a man and a woman. There's nothing else, pretty much. That's it. Unless you're an alien, from outer space, then that's something different, But anything else, that's you're usually a man or a woman, allegedly, of course. But cancel it tonight. Not to mention, release the January 6th protesters. So they released them. He's withdrawn from the World Health Organization. Other things too, like it's not just that, like it's insane about the executive orders. I was trying to look at all the executive orders just to know exactly what he's talking about in terms of doing. Like it's insane, it's ludicrous, like it's insane. About he must have signed about 300 at this stage, so it's insane to try and remember it all because there's that much information to take in. So we did pledge too, just before the election, to release all the JFK files and Martin Luther King files. So we should see what happens there too. He didn't release them yet, but we see. There's probably other stuff, but I can't think of it at the moment. Another thing, yeah, I've seen that just before I went live there. He got rid of the app too, yeah. Can't think what else was. There was many other things. See, there's that many. See, when there's too much, it's hard to take it on. And DEI hires are gone too. So, what basically the fire in Finland was in the swimmer pool. He was the DEI hire pretty much. So yeah, but I don't know. So what do we take so far? I suppose the main thing is, what do we take? I know there's that many. There's other things. There's no tax and tips was signed in too. Many other things like insane other stuff. Like, I'd be here for an hour. I said about it. He's talking about tariffs for different countries. Talking about tariffs for the European Union. So we should see about that. I'd probably talk about that eventually. But we see what happens because again, apparently they're on a 300 billion deficit in trade with the European Union, with Ireland, with the European Union, Ireland, Finland, Sweden, etc., etc. European countries in the European Union. So we should see what happens there. We don't know what's going to happen there either. So we should see, especially with all the manufacturing in Ireland, it's going to have a huge effect on our country probably. We should see if they play the right cards, it work out in Ireland. We'll get to that at some stage. We'll talk about that in the video. Just to see about it, we get talking about it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like there's that much stuff to be told. Like, I'm thinking about other stuff in my head. There's that much stuff we'd be here talking for 6 hours about it on about it. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like especially for the first few days. I don't like anything else. Anybody want to enlighten me over? But yeah, basically, just the last thing I say on it. Well, not the last thing. We'll talk about it for a few more minutes. OT are losing the plot. So if you watch OT now, it's good fun. Because the only thing you're going to hear for the next 4 years, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. Like they basically have the Trump derangement syndrome back. Like OT are losing the plot. Like they are generally losing the plot. Like they're losing their mind with Donald Trump at the moment. So would anybody watch OT for the first time in years? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's funny to see them losing their mind. Like they are generally losing their mind in terms of it. Like they generally are pulling the hair out of it. So it's funny to see that. I'm enjoying watching that. It's good to see them suffer from time to time. The media. So it's a good thing that, but we see. So regarding, I suppose, Russia and Ukraine, it's positive news that we're hearing from Donald Trump on it. And now, obviously, nothing has been set in stone, nothing's been done yet, but it's dialogue. Let's put that. There's dialogue going on, there's talking going on, which is good because I'm sure you would all agree. it's better than it was before the negotiations, the stuff, just talk. So hopefully that'll come to an end too. Thankfully, the Gaza ceasefire too. It seems to be holding up. There's a few airstrikes here and there, but thankfully that's holding up. So what I think so far, he's done a good job. He's pretty much said majority of things he said he was going to do, he's done at the moment. Obviously, he's only in a few days. We can't say he's going to do everything in a few days, but pretty much the major things he said with the January 6th protesters. Take for example the US-Mexico border. He pretty much said that birthright citizenship. It's another important one I forgot to say about that. We don't know, that might not go through. We see because the state's challenging that. So we see what happens there. It depends on the Supreme Court. I suppose I have to go to the Supreme Court, I say, because there's a lot of legal challenges to that. But we see. But pretty much he said, and I think it's the most of any US president executive orders in one day. So he pretty much said what he was going to do. In fairness. But we give him, he's doing well at the moment. I think he's doing well. As long as he keeps his course and obviously keeps his promises to people. That's the main thing. Because he promised a lot. He did promise a lot of people saying this, that, as long as he keeps that. But at the moment, he has kept a good few promises that he said he was going to do day one. So he's doing good at the moment. So we should see after that, I suppose. And hopefully maybe the Irish government might listen a bit, but that's not going to happen. So we should see. We should see. But the inauguration, I watched it that evening, Monday evening, just when I was coming home from work. It was quite good. The music and stuff like that. It's to be totally honest, I'm not an American, so I suppose I shouldn't be telling Americans what to do in their country. But it's quite a fitting area to have it more than the steps of the Capitol building in the rotunda, the Capitol rotunda. It's quite a nice structure, and especially the echo of the Capitol rotunda too. So maybe they might do that in future. So we should see. I don't know. I've seen that Keir Starmer went over, but I don't know what it's to do with. Victoria said. So I don't know. Like there's countries that sign friendship treaties and stuff like that. Like Ireland done it last year to another country. I can't remember where it was. It could be Croatia. It might have been. Like Ireland has a friendship treaty, which pretty much means they're good friends, etc., pretty much. So I don't know. Maybe that was that. I didn't really look, and I seen it in passing, but I didn't really pass much remarks on it. See, I've been that busy again. It's just been crisis after crisis the last few weeks. It's either the other thing goes this thing or the other thing. Pretty much, there's no way in between this week for me, or the last few weeks for me. It's just basically this big issue, huge big issue here. This, that, like it's insane, like ludicrous amount of stuff. And it's happened the last few weeks. So that's what's happened, but that's my opinion on it. But I suppose what does people think? So I presume maybe it was Croatia. Was somewhere there. I can't think what it was, but don't quote me for it. But I remember somebody from the Balkan kind of area came over here and signed the friendship treaty. That's what they called it, I think. Something like that. But don't quote me. But I think it was Croatia. I think I might be wrong, but I do think it was Croatia. Either that or it was Bosnia or something like that. The countries do sign friendship treaty, but maybe that was that. I don't know. I look into it if I come across it. But I don't know. But I do agree with Donald Trump. Obviously we're not a part of NATO, etc., etc. But just as an Irish perspective too, I do think he's right in terms of 5% spending on GDP for any country in the European Union and in the Western democracies. I do think that's important because you probably wondered what Ireland's one is at. Like Donald Trump before recommended 3%, he's recommending 5% now for European countries in the Fed spending. You'll probably wonder what Ireland's at. So would you like to enlighten me on what Ireland's the Fed spending per capita is, per GDP? Would anybody like to enlighten me? To see do we know? Because it's pretty shocking when you really look. When you look at it on a map of the whole European Union, it's quite shocking. It is quite shocking. I've said it time and time again. But I don't think we should go up all the way to 5% here. Obviously, we're not a part of NATO, but I'm just saying we should probably put it up. At most for like 3%. We go as far as 3% at the moment because we're not even close to 3%. I think just to say, but in Ireland's terms of the Fed spending and stuff like that, because again, we have to remember we have no other country coming to our aid if we get attacked. We're not likely to get attacked now. The threat is low, but cyber security and stuff like that, the threat is high there. And in terms of on the oceans, it's high, but not physical threat like enemy army coming off our coast. Not yet. There's nothing physically threatened yet. Against the state. But yeah, so the Fed spending of Ireland is only about 0.7%, not even 1% of our GDP is spent on the Feds. And you're probably wondering how much that is. It's only about $1 billion. They only increased it to about $1 billion. So you're probably wondering, why do I say it's the lowest in the European Union? Because literally Malta has more defence spending than us. Literally Luxembourg has a bigger defence spending than us. When you see that, you know there's something very wrong. When you see that Denmark, other small countries have bigger defence spending than us. So pretty much we're paddy last, pretty much in terms of the Fed spending. So I agree with Donald Trump in that obviously we won't join NATO. We don't want NATO to come to our aid, etc., etc. And not to mention we have to pay billions to NATO, etc., etc. every year. But I do think we need to be able to defend ourselves if anything ever did come, anything ever came in the future and stuff like that. Because at the moment in time, as I said, the Irish Defence Forces couldn't defend one county, and that's the Defence Forces itself saying that. So I do agree with Donald Trump. The country should raise its defence spending to 5% in the European Union of their GDP, etc., etc. Particularly Ireland, as I say, we could only go to about 3%. We don't have to go all the way to 5% yet. But I do think we do because it's in a pretty solid state when you see that, and when you see the graphic, Ireland's way down here, Malta's next, and then it's Luxembourg and all that. When you look at it, it's like we're way down here, 0.5% of our GDP. And you have to remember, Ireland's a lot richer country than Malta, and Luxembourg is a bit richer than us. But Luxembourg's surrounded by all the countries in the like Germany on that side, Luxembourg, like not Luxembourg, I'm talking about Belgium, France, they're surrounded on all sides pretty much by NATO countries, etc., etc. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But it's always prepared. Like being prepared for stuff. I suppose Alexander Stubbs. I heard him talking at the World Economic Forum. I know great stuff, the World Economic Forum. But no, he was right in one thing he said, particularly in Finland's defence. And so I suppose it's been a neutral country since the Cold War. The Finnish government, even at the time during the Cold War and stuff like that, always kept the Fed spending. They never cut it, or they never touched it. They always kept military conscription, for example. They were only Nordic country to keep military conscription. And they were proven right, I suppose, to keep it. Because people didn't want to get rid of it. They wanted to keep the military spending and stuff like that, because security is main focus. But what I'm trying to say, even as a neutral country, when Finland was neutral, etc., even Sweden, they kept a very decently high defence spending and conscription, etc. Now, I don't propose bringing conscription in here. But I do propose that we do put up the defence spending a bit. Because if anything did come. Because again, we all know we're pretty much on our own. We're only a small island on the ocean. We're on our own. We're no military alliance. Even though if we were attacked in the morning, the United Kingdom or the United States would have to get involved, I say. But there's no physical threat. It's more cyber threats and on the oceans at the moment. That's the main threats to Ireland's sovereignty. But what I'm trying to say is the defence force at the moment couldn't defend the state if the state was attacked. So I agree with Donald Trump on that, and Thomas NATO too, defend putting up the defence spending. But I do agree that Ireland should put it up too, but not join NATO. That's where I draw the line. But you're being a good prepared nation. Like even just look at Switzerland. Switzerland's been building bunkers, etc., in the mountains, and they've been neutral for how many years? 800 years, 900 years, something like that. Neutral or 1,000 years, Switzerland. And they've been always kind of military prepared, etc. Our state is not military prepared in any sense of the word. But the sad thing is, and I suppose what Alexander Stubbs said too, and I suppose it's a true fact too, the world is a lot more fragmented place, right across the world, not just in Europe and other countries. And I suppose, again, Santa Mountain said it before too, that countries are too reliant on each other nowadays, in terms of stuff. Especially in economic terms, etc., etc. You never know what could happen in the world. But having a good defence, having a good defence capabilities, not having to rely on other countries to defend us, I think that's very important, and particularly if we value our sovereignty. I know Micheál Martin's going to be the Taoiseach, he doesn't value sovereignty, but I do think it's important. Apologies. Hello, Tony. Good evening. How are we doing this Wednesday evening? Hope we're well. So we move on for the United States of America and the Irish Dáil debates, let's call that. So we move on to the weather. No, the weather is considered far white, just to say. So if you question the weather forecast, you're far white. So how dare you? Now, so good news for the children. If I was a child now, I'd be hopping up and down. But yeah, Storm Academy, I think it's called, to be one of the most severe storms pretty much ever, I think they say in Ireland. But we see what happens. Obviously, the main thing, I'm going to do a video on it soon talking about it too. The main thing in Ireland is as soon as any kind of gust of wind comes at all, everything, the power goes out everywhere. And that's to do with the Green Party too, because the Green Party wouldn't let them cut, even in Cavan, they won't let them cut branches that are hanging beside electricity wires. And when the wind comes, obviously the branches fall and it brings down the electricity wire because the Green Party wouldn't let them cut, wouldn't let local authorities cut it. And they wonder why people lose power to electricity, etc., etc. But we shall see. But yeah, it's supposed to be quite a bad storm, as you see, the closing childcare facilities and schools. So hopefully it doesn't be that bad. Of course, we don't want it to be that bad. Obviously, along the coast, it's going to be dangerous enough. No surprise. But I do just say to people to be advised to be careful. It's across the whole country. Beforehand, it's across the whole country. Beforehand, it was in Cork and Kerry and Limerick. It's across the whole country now. So do please be careful. I think it's Friday night, and they say, yeah. So we should see. Hopefully, it's not too bad. But it does seem to be, might be bad. There might be a risk in some areas, particularly on the coast. I don't know about Cavan now. The only issue I can see in Cavan is that electricity wires would go down and trees would fall. Because again, the nuisance thing about the Green Party, there's loads of trees in Cavan that are barely just holding on. Like the half of them half tipped over pretty much, like about to fall on roads, etc., etc. And the Green Party won't let us cut them. They wouldn't let us cut them in the last time they were in government because they wouldn't allow to cut the trees, even though the trees pose a risk in a lot of cases to traffic, to pedestrians, etc. The Green Party wouldn't let you do it. So you wonder why there's trees in the road and stuff like that. In the majority of cases, it could have been solved if we cut down them trees that were a danger. That were a danger. I'm not saying we're going to cut every tree in the country down. That's not going to solve anything. But not even the trees, even the branches, as they say, off the trees that are over the electricity wires. They're huge danger. But the Green Party have other plans. Let's talk. We'll get there soon, Tony. We'll get there soon. Now, so news in the Western Foot, in terms of the Cavan Western Foot. New plan to launch tourism in Cavan and Leitrim and stuff like that. Obviously, first of all, it doesn't exist. So why are they talking about a non-existent place? Actually, so not a non-existent place. A part of Cavan that's belonged to Cavan, because Leitrim doesn't exist. So why is Leitrim getting into? Because Leitrim doesn't exist. It's only West Cavan. So they mean to say this is a typo. Just to say they meant to say West Cavan County Council is looking for tourism, but basically there's not much going over there. A few sheep and stuff like that, and what's common. So pretty much it's to do with many things. Trying to attract people, particularly the Shannon River, the same, but the Quilca Mountain area where the Shannon starts. The Shannon starts up there and goes all the way down to Clare. So Cavan has a lot of potential as a county for tourism. But it's not, as I always said, and then I'm sure they already know, the councils already know it. I'm going in the face and telling them, that we have a lot of potential as a county, but we don't fully understand it. I don't think we take full advantage of it, and we probably should. But so hopefully this all goes well, and we see from there. And we get to it, don't we? What was that? It was something about Elon book, but so good news. So the St. Patrick's Day event is going to go ahead. So they're going to have different things. So it's good that it's going ahead. So they're going to have a thing in the Farnham Hotel to raise money, like a quiz, to raise money for it. So So it's very good to see this go ahead because, as I said, it's important to the community as a community event, etc. So it's great to see it's going ahead. I'm happy to see it going ahead. Um, I have to say, some of the posters for this is it's quite funny. I'll probably show them the community post because when I originally seen it, I was like, "Yo, what's happening here?" You see when I show it to you later, I might show it. I put it up on the community post because it's quite funny when you take it out of context, I suppose a bit. Um, but yeah, so it's going to be good for businesses. It's going to be good for the local economy. It's going to be good for the young children. It's going to be good for the adults. It's going to be good. It's going to be a nice day out for the people of Cavan, for tourists or whoever will be in our county on the 17th of March. So great to see. I'm happy to see it back because it wasn't here last year in our county town. So it's great to see it back. My so um yeah, these clowns have won the country into the ground for the second time, and obviously time to cut. So yeah, so it's all going well, just to say. So yeah, already like every day of the week in Finland, I'm watching the news in Finland. This job's being cut. This person's losing their job. Everybody's losing their job. Like every day, you look at the Finnish media. There's this person being like there's loads of jobs like this. 300 jobs. Yesterday there was 500 jobs gone. Someone the other day was 1,000. So it's all going well, pretty much what I'm trying to say. So Finland's debt is continuing to grow the fastest in the European Union, one of the fastest in the world too. They're just a bit behind, So they're getting there. So they're achieving great stuff. The true Finns. As you see here, it's not going too well. It's not going well at all. It's not buzzing. And the funniest thing is, the main thing that Rika wanted to do, and she was jumping up and down when Santa Mountain was there. There was going to be no debt. Basically, she said there'd be no debt at all. We get rid of all the debt. We'll make Finland richer. When there'll be no such thing as debt. And obviously that didn't go well because the debt has gone up. As I say, the debt has gone up by billions. It used to be something like 100 and something billion, or maybe less than 100 and something billion at one stage. So it went up by, I don't know, it must have been 40 billion or something like that. It went up by in less than a year and a bit when they went. So they done well. They put up the debt by an insane amount. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is there's no government in Finnish history that has collected as much debt, and they're only a year and about 560 something days now in government. And how they managed to do it, it's anybody's guess. Because this woman here was shouting up and down, like jumping up and down for the last when Santa Mountain was in government for 4 years. There was like not even close to the amount of debt was taken on. These people have taken on more debt than Santa Mountain's government has ever done. It's quite insane. How the tables have turned. And basically, yeah, it's not going well. Yeah, nice as possible. So there's an update in Santa Mountain's case in terms of the stalker. So there is another, like, court files were just released today, showing about it. Let me see. I just remember where I am now. So yeah, that's like Joe Biden. Yeah, so this situation is this came out just earlier on. So this is to do with in November last year, just gone by. This was the first encounter with the man. They're still calling him the man. Like the media are still going with this. Like, well, like the stalk, suspected stalk. It's insane. The man had seen Santa Mountain, at the traffic lights when she was going home. Pretty much, she said it was unpleasant. The man had to run after her to try and stop her. Straight away, this is red flags right here. In November last year, that the man literally ran after the woman, like Santa Mountain, and tried to stop her, whatever intention he had. The man followed her and shouted at her after her, after this. So I presume that's how he found out where she lived. He followed her home, which is very sus. But I don't know what possessed Santa Mountain for the next thing that was said. Santa Mountain had gone home into her house, but according to her own words, she had not thought about it further. So pretty much she didn't report it to the police in November. This November, before anything ever happened. I can imagine if somebody was running after me, particularly a man, running after, trying to stop her, and then shouting at her and stuff like that. I could imagine you probably would go to the police. If somebody was chasing you, well, not chasing you, but you're trying to stop you, and having to go running away pretty much. So I don't know why she did it. I don't know why she didn't say anything about it, or why she didn't do anything about it back then. I presume she just probably wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. And it says in another article here about it. So I presume she just kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, or didn't want to cause any scene about it. Because again, this was what would happen if there was any kind of scene at all. So that's what happened. But yeah, so and also there's more detail on it. So this is the 20th of December, just before the man was arrested. Also, the reports in the incident, December the 20th, saw the man, basically across the street from her house, staring at her window and Santa Mowan. This time it was reported to the police, but basically, there's evidence of it that this is the fellow that stood across the street, literally looking into her house. Now, for how long he was doing this, he could have been doing it for a long, long time beforehand, so who knows? But long story short, he should be sent home by now. I keep saying it, but that's the solution here. And then obviously beforehand, there was this. So we know a bit more pretty much than we know before. So we're saying about the incident the 27th. So he was doing this constantly, pretty much, until the night of the early morning. What am I saying? Christmas Eve, excuse me. So to go about at the time the doorbell rang in her house, and her boyfriend went to the door, waiting for the mother, etc., etc. So I presume that's how he found out where she lived. Going by this, so we don't know all, obviously, but there's obviously things still coming out about it. So he knew. So there's a lot to say about this because, thankfully, her boyfriend did record some of this. So he's kind of fucked anyway. But what makes it worse, like he's really fucked himself. Like he's really fucked himself. Like he's really done it. Like he's done it now. He is really done it now. I don't know if it says here, but he's done it. He's truly done it now. So this is just to say about him trying to get into the door on the Christmas Eve. There's video of him and stuff like that. But this is the other thing. He later tried to contact her. So via Signal, etc., and asked whether she was the real Santa Mowan. I don't know what he was smoking, to be totally honest. Like, he literally was white in her face many times. I don't know what kind of drugs he's on because, is he being serious or is he living in his own dimension? Like, that's what he literally asked the real Santa, were you the real Santa Mowan? So, delusion, like, it's insane. So I don't know what to make of that comment, to be totally honest. But pretty much she was watching what she was doing on, on social media, etc., etc. So Santa Mowan was afraid of the events will repeat and get worse. And to be totally, I wouldn't blame her, especially with a young child. Nobody would blame her for doing what she did, to go and get her straight. No, nobody would blame her. So this is obviously straight up cope. He's pretty much talking shit. Excuse me. And especially because there's many witnesses saying, they identified him. Like there was one person that said too, on an affidavit, that he seen him following her outside her apartment at one stage, like in the distance. So he pretty much is fucked. If there ever was a time to. He's pretty in every possible reality. He's fucked. Like he can't make any excuse because he's pretty much cold of himself. But as I said before, this and the fact that he hasn't been deported yet. Like the judge literally said, there's a reason the cause assumed that the man will commit a crime against Santa Mowan's life, health, or freedom, if they did not oppose restraining order. But my question is, and this the media should be asking, like the mainstream media here, why is the man not on the plane going back to Turkey, where he's from? That's the simple question. Why is he not on the plane? All this hardship would end if they told him, here's a ticket, get on the plane, never come back. And if you come back, we're going to send you back to your homeland. That's what they should be saying. They should be saying to get on the plane and never come back. Like that's what they should be saying. That would solve the whole issue here. If they send him to Turkey, he stay in Turkey and he can cause the trouble over there if he wants to. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's what happened. But yes, there's another article about just to say. So yeah, so pretty much it was in November, as I said. But she described it as unpleasant. But even though she didn't go to she didn't go to the police. I'm sure to God that somebody was running after you and trying to stop you, and probably followed you home. You probably would go to the police or the Gaudi. Um, yeah, like I presume here too. I kind of get what she said. She told the court she didn't think much of it. The woman who, pretty much everybody knows in Finland. Like she pretty much the most famous face you could find in Finland. Like everybody knows who she is. She didn't take much of the incident, even though somebody running after you and shouting after you. You probably would be a bit sussed out, especially if you didn't even know them. I know what she's saying. She was familiar with people like random members of the public talking to her. I suppose in that regard too, you can kind of understand, but you still at the same time there should be red flags going off. Yeah, so this is December the 20th just come by. Demonstrates a window. So obviously it's there's a lot of evidence of it. But still the media insist to blow his face. Yeah, but I still can't get over this. Like sent the message to Santa Mountain, saying we should be a Santa Mountain. I suppose that's I don't know what to say about that. But it's lunacy. Like it's lunacy how this man wasn't sent home yet. Like that would solve the whole issue. Send him back to Turkey, and he can cause trouble over there. But the thing about it in Turkey, he wouldn't get offered. He'd be dealt with very harshly. He wouldn't get a Australian, or he'd get worse than that. But yeah, so she's afraid that the offence will get worse, which is the first time I ever heard Santa Mountain saying she was afraid of something. And obviously, of course, with we've seen the photo of her asking for the whatever you would call that, the divider, I suppose we would call it, between her and her assailant. I was going to call him by his name there, but if I called him by his name, I'd be locked up for it because hate speech. You're not allowed to say his name because the media, like, they know his name. Like, they're not. They shouldn't be afraid to say. Like, they keep posting the same fucking photos. Say his name, show his face. Fucking, like, this is bullshit. Pretty much for saying it. But this is the thing. This is where he really fucked up. This is the next thing. Yeah, well, you have to go. You have to go. There's no choice in the matter. You have to go. He can go back to his own country. Because it reflects back on the Turkish government why these fuckers, this fucker, is allowed to run around Finland and cause this trouble. That's as simple as that. Let the Turkish government deal with him. He's a Turkish citizen. He's not a Finnish citizen. If he was a Finnish citizen, I'd be saying send him to prison. But he's from Turkey. He's a Turkish citizen. He was getting handouts from the Finnish government. He's getting money from the government. He's on the dole. He's a burden on the system. He's a troublemaker. He's caused trouble before. This is not his first offence. Turkey should take him back. He's their citizen. They should deal with him. Simple as that. And if he caused trouble over there, it's up to them to deal with him. Because he wouldn't do it in his own country. The only reason why he's doing it in Finland, he would come up probably over here and do it too if he got away with it. He probably will. But you know what I'm saying. He wouldn't get offered it in Turkey. Simple as that. The Turkish government wouldn't let him off it. Going around doing this. They wouldn't let him off. Simple as that. They wouldn't. But this is where he really fucked up. Like, this is where he's maybe in serious trouble. Like, in more serious trouble than he was before. He denied the serial harasser claimed he's been mixed up with someone else. Is he well? Like, like Santa Mountain, what about anybody else in the world? Like, without a doubt, like, he knew who she was. Like, without a doubt. I presume he just hates women. That's what I presume. So, yeah, like, what else do you want me to say in that claim? He thought it was somebody else. Like, it's bullshit. But this was the next thing. Like, it really fucked up because they're looking into now did he go, like, was he stalking the form of the current Finnish president of Finland? And that, obviously is a very serious thing, because it's a very serious crime to stalk an elected public official that's already the president of Finland. Um, so he could be fucked entirely now, because he literally put his foot into it. It's Alexander Stubbs. So that's what the police deem it as, that he was talking about Alexander Stubbs. Now, it doesn't know that he stalked Alexander Stubbs, but he pretty much put his foot into it. Like, he pretty much, he was fucked before, but he's definitely fucked now. Because he pretty much alleged that he thought it was Alexander Stubbs. So instead of the former Finnish prime minister, he's going to stalk the former the current president of Finland. So he's going to make it even worse than himself, So I didn't want to stalk, but this is the thing. Why would you turn up to somebody's house that you didn't even know and stalk them? Like, he's pretty much saying, I didn't stalk Santa Mauna. I wanted to stalk some random woman. Yeah, like, like, you're making it worse than yourself. Like, how he hasn't been sent home and told to get the fuck out of the country as soon as fucking possible. Oh, not even that. Just throw him on the plane and fuck him off. It's anybody's belief. Like, it's beyond insane that they have not sent them home yet, and told them never to come back, and put them on a list. It's beyond belief, and the fact that this fellow is still walking the streets and not in prison should speak volumes too. But long story short, what should happen to this fellow? Because again, I know his name, but I wouldn't be allowed to say it because the Gestapo will be in the house. But yeah, long story short, he should be sent home. Like, without a doubt, go back to Turkey, go and cause your trouble in Turkey. But at the end of the day, he's committed these crimes before. This is not his first offence, so send him home. Let the Turkish government deal with him. He won't cause trouble over there. I bet you anyone he wouldn't cause trouble in his home country, because he knows the penalty will be severe. The penalty will be severe. So that's that. So we pretty much know really, unless there's some other thing, but I presume that's how he found out where she lived. But again, it's public knowledge. I even knew myself that she does go out on her own and stuff like that when she's in Helsinki and stuff like that, without any security and stuff like that. So, like, it's public knowledge even before this even happened that she goes out and about on her own. I suppose the question is why there was nobody with. Like, there probably should be somebody with her. To be totally honest with you. But we see what happens. But if there ever was a case of sending somebody home to deport them, the definition of deport should be on that man's face, to be totally honest. Because it's clear and cut. It's clear and cut. There's no buying himself out of it, but what I'm trying to say. Because there's pretty much overwhelming evidence. Overwhelming. There's nothing in the world. And pretty much there you heard him say he was going to stalk the form of, like, the current Finnish president. Like, he's making it worse than himself. And then it's saying, I didn't know it was Santa Mauna. I was going to stalk some random woman. Like, he's making it even worse. And then saying, I like the architecture. Like, he's making it worse. He's kind of digging himself a bigger hole. But yeah, the media still protects him. So it's quite ludicrous. When you really sit down and think about it, it's quite ludicrous. So yeah, any thoughts on that or anything? But that's what I think. That's what I think they should do with him. I would say worse. Like, I would do worse to him if I was a judge. But preferably, again, the main thing to solve him, I think, is send him back to his own country. Keep him there. Tell him never to come back. He won't get social welfare into that. He have to defend for himself. He have to go out and do a job. He will have to work 9 to 5 or something. But he won't be a public nuisance. That's what I take in it. So yeah, any questions on that? So that's that. There's one other thing I wanted to show you. If I can find it. Lovely. Um, so apparently there's a fire. I don't know how true this is, or is it true? What's the story? But apparently there's a fire. Excuse me, I'm not able to speak at the moment. In Coolock in Dublin, the grounds of the former direct provision centre at Coolock. That's what apparently I'm seeing at the moment. Oh, that was the fire. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But no, the media are not denying it. This is the thing. The media are not denying that, even admitting now that he's a Turkish citizen. And everybody we found it out straight away that he was a Turkish citizen. That he wasn't finished. That he didn't have citizenship. It's the fact that hiding his face, even though everybody knows who he is. That's the funniest thing. It's just insane. Like, it's ludicrous, especially because again you see Sandra Mountain's face just plastered all over it, and she's the victim here. And that's the thing. Like, he should have his face plastered all over it, even though people have known about it. That's how I know who he is, and I know everything about him. And the same with many people. People found it out, and put it up, and that's the thing. But I think that's what it is. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me, but that's what I'm looking at the moment. I don't know how to I might be wrong, so don't jump to conclusions, I suppose, but I don't know. Um, uh, which in what regard? Which? What in regard? I know what are you talking about, the January 6th, or what are you talking about? So, see, sometimes I'm a bit slow. um, um, so that's what's happened to the Crown Plates factory. Looks to be. Uh, I suppose if we got to say, both yeah, okay. But what were you saying about? Oh, you were saying about Oh, you were saying about England. Sorry, now I understand what you're saying. Yeah. No, that's okay. Sorry, I completely blanked off for a second. You're talking about people in England. So apologies. Yeah, I'm only getting it out. Sorry, my brain is stupid. I'm only after putting two and two together. Sorry, it took me a few minutes to think of that. I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying now. Sorry. Um, yeah, because Aaron was saying about the fellow in Wales allegedly from Wales, allegedly, of course. Quite allegedly, but. Let me see. Give me a moment. One moment, please. I'm not bored of the sun now. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in terms of the hate speech. We have to see. I don't think they're going to put it in yet. I say it'll be another year and before they get around to it. So we shall see. I don't know. We see what happens, I suppose. So yeah, just the inauguration of the president of the United States, Donald Trump, and to do with all that, the recent times in the United States, just add on to that. So a lot of things were said about this, not particularly what he said, but particularly this. Or what did I miss about it? Let's see. So a lot of people thought this was a Nazi, Heil Hitler, pretty much. I don't think it was. Like, if you watch the full context of the clip here, uh, like it does seem like I know people are probably. Uh, it does seem like he's putting his hand in his heart. As far as I can see, I could be wrong. Maybe I am. But it does seem like he's putting his hand in his heart. But if he was a Nazi, I hardly doubt he would put his hand here and then do that. I don't know. I could be wrong. Just I don't believe it is. But to be told answer, because just specifically the reason why I point to that, if he was going to do a Nazi salute, he would have done it without putting his hand in his heart. Um, that makes do you get what I'm saying? That's what I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's going to be a big storm fighter. Yeah. But I could be wrong, but I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. I don't think he meant to do it because I couldn't imagine that he thought about it, that he sat there and thought about it, because it does seem like it was a spree at the moment. If that makes any sense, uh, like he didn't participate, like like you can see his hand in his heart. But I don't know. It could be wrong, but I don't think he did. Oh, if he did, I don't think he whatever about this one. But I don't think the first one's intentional. Uh, But I don't know. But that's just my opinion from what I can see about it. Um, so I don't know. So I don't know. But yeah, so there's a lot of still ruptures about it. So this is you probably often heard of Leigh Anderson. She was in Sandra Mountain's cabinet too. The Minister for Education of the Left Alliance, etc., etc. So there was a lot of heat on Leigh Anderson. And obviously, especially because again, she's high up in the European Parliament, as you see, um, is the chairperson of a committee in the European Parliament. Is this the death of woke? Which is a funny thing to say about a statement that would not really a statement, but what you see on the screen, I suppose. But yeah, there's a lot there's a lot of examples of this. Like people do this all the time. In terms of that, like people do it and they don't even mean to do it. They're not even aware. Like if you're pointing at something or something like that, or I don't know, you get what I'm saying. So I don't know. I think people have all, even just the only Joes that are going about their everyday business. I don't think everybody means to do this kind of. You know what I'm trying to say? Because going by people online, anybody who ever lived or done something like this. Obviously, in the 1930s, yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory what we were trying to do back then. But um, let me see. Can't remember where she put the. She probably deleted the other thing. Oh yeah, no doubt. Some people do think it is. I know, like it doesn't look to be, because especially because he put his hand in his heart, and so I presume he's trying to give people his heart. I suppose if that makes any sense. That's what I presume. I could be wrong. That's only my opinion, so don't shoot me for it. Um, but I suppose you can believe what you want to believe. I suppose that's social media, and that's the internet, and that's life. I suppose. Um, Swearing to the cats, no, we don't do that kind of thing, no. He doesn't need the money. But I don't think he meant to do it. Like, I'd be sitting here, if I did think he meant to do it, I would say it, but I don't think he did. Like, it seemed to be, like we probably do it, like hundreds of us probably done the same thing throughout our lives. And you wouldn't even notice it. People do things without thinking. It's same with human. The way I move my hands and stuff like that now. Like a lot of the time, I wouldn't be thinking of moving my hands because I'm too busy yapping. Uh, like even just moving my hands here now, talking about different things. You're not even processing that. You're more focused on thinking about what you're saying, etc., etc. So things like that can happen because again, if we thought about every movement we made, the way you even get up in the morning, you would get up without even instantly thinking of it. You know, so but in my opinion, I don't think he knew what he done. For like, I don't think he meant to do it first of all. But I think a lot of people just blew it out of proportion. Is what I'm trying to say, and particularly the media. The media kind of wanted something to run with. That's what I take happening. I could be wrong, but again, that's just my freedom of speech. Um, over, yeah. Um, so that's about it. We talked about the major things, which is good. That we got the doll stuff. Obviously, tomorrow there'll be more things to talk about in relation to the doll. But we got the United States presidential election. Like not the, over with, but the inauguration, etc., etc. So that's good. Um, so we can just kind of chill for a few minutes. How does that sound to people? Um, we give it a we take a bit of a we take a breather and relax. Is there anything else? There's not really much else going on the local level here around here at the moment. Um, um, what's it saying here, sir? So I'm just looking at this window on and stuff. Yeah. Like meta and sometimes doesn't make any sense. I'll show you now what I mean by that. Like this doesn't make any sense. How is Northern Ireland everywhere else in the country is red, right? But how in the name of God is Northern Ireland? Is that not stupid? Excuse me. But how in Monaghan is it red and Loud and Cavan and Donegal even? How in the name of God, take for example, Donegal and then you have Tyrone and Derry. If Donegal is red, would Tyrone and Derry not be the same, along with Fermanagh? Whatever, but maybe over here you might be safe enough. Because as far as the storm come in, into the island, like usually as you see, the coast of Ireland is very rugged, because of all the waves and the storms. But you see, the coast over here is very smooth. Like it's very smooth compared to the this kind of thing. So the further the storm moves in, the weaker it gets. Pretty much, I'd say. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but this seems a bit stupid for Met Aaron. That if the whole country is under, like the majority, the whole Republic of Ireland, it's under red alert. But how is Northern Ireland not? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know, but they still put it in the map. It's orange. If that makes any sense. Like OT is still saying, giving it and stuff like that. Not OT, but. Yeah, but there definitely will be power cuts. Yeah, there definitely will be in some parts. I don't know about all the country, but most is, yeah. But see, some people just even just the smallest thing that kind of. But I think it's not even just ordinary Joe. I think it was the media more. The media wanted something, to try and cause a big, ruckus about. That's pretty much what I think they were trying to do. The media, so they just kind of picked, this and ran with it. If that makes any sense. That's what I think. I might be wrong, but that's just my opinion on it. I've seen it. I thought about it for a few minutes too. And I'm not an Elon Musk fanboy, just to say, you know. Um, like you've seen there, showed you pictures there of Barack Obama, etc., doing pretty much nearly the same thing. Like we all kind of do it at some point. Maybe not intentionally now, but you get what I'm saying. Um, there's some amount of censorship at the moment. Um, whatever I said on YouTube really pissed people off. Um, well, not people, but YouTube itself. I know, but some people, like I do think some people sometimes, um, like over exaggerate things like that, like stuff like that. If that makes any sense. Like I think people just sometimes just see things they're not there. Generally, if I thought he did it, I would say it. Like you just have to kind of look at some of the true things, and you kind of get your solution very quickly. It's, that kind of thing. You kind of look for you don't need the scientist to tell you that one, but to get what I'm saying. Because yeah, some of them have SS tattoos and stuff like that. So you put two and two together, you kind of get a good solution. You kind of get your solution, to saying, maybe this person might be, one of them people. Um, because some of them do literally have SS tattoos. Um, you know, um, and not to mention literally swastikas, arms and stuff. It's insane. Yeah, I know. The Nazis didn't come up with it. It was an Hindu symbol, wasn't a Hindu symbol for luck and stuff. Even take us up on the Finnish level too. Just I don't know if you know about this. The Finnish Air Force, even though it was small, when Finland gained independence in 1918, um, the Finnish, even to this day, there's a regiment in the Finnish army that has the swastika. And mainly because before even Hitler even came to power in Germany in 1933, and even before that, in the 1921, 1922, the Finnish Air Force adopted the swastika as its logo for the Finnish Air Force at the time. It's only a small air force in the 1920s, but there's a regiment still in the Finnish army that has a swastika. It's not associated with the Nazis, of course, but it's to do with the Air Force. The Air Force still uses it. No, not mainly uses it, have a different logo now, but that regiment still uses it in the Air Force. It makes any sense. Um, that's why a lot of people wouldn't say much about it, because it's way before Hitler even came to power in the 1920s. Um, it was 1922 or something like that when the Finnish Air Force established that, used to do, but it was a Hindu symbol originally. So I don't know, did Hitler get it from, because again, it was a Hindu symbol for luck. That's what it was. And then obviously the Finnish Air Force, I don't know what was the thought behind it for the Finnish Air Force. But they were probably just looking for a logo and just decided that one for luck. But that was way before even Hitler ever came to power in Germany. That was literally beginning in the 1920s. Hitler was going to art school, trying to get into art school, etc., etc. Yeah, because Hitler, he was about the 1930s, the end of the 1920s when Hitler started getting bombers in Germany. Oh, I know that. Yeah, you couldn't just cancel everything, because even if you look back, with the majority stuff, bad people often use technologies that we even use. They can take, for example, this computer I'm using at the moment. You never know who has the same brand of this computer that could be doing evil stuff, terrible, terrible, evil stuff. You can't just go around canceling everything because this person used it. Understand if you have a nuclear weapon or something that understandably you could be like, fair enough, then we might cancel you for that. But I don't know much. I can't speak in the Erica song. I can't really say. I know off it, of course, but I don't know the history of it. I know about the Finnish Air Force. I've learned about the Finnish Air Force. that time. I don't know if did anybody ever know that the Finnish Air Force. Now there's a regiment still in the Finnish Army that uses it, but it's associated with the Air Force. If you're ever in Finland on the 12th of June, they do. It's called Flag Day. It's basically Mannerheim's birthday, Carl Gustav Mannerheim's birthday. They have a Flag Day with parades, the Air Force, the Army, tanks, etc., flybys of Helsinki. Unfortunately, I was a few days late that time I went this year to it. I wish I did go to it, but look, always again. But yeah, you would have seen it there. If you look up videos of it, you would see it. But I don't know if anybody ever know about that before. Like, it is a true fact, a true fact. But if you want to see the real Nazis in Finland, you know, the current Finnish government, it's the people to go to. You know, it's if you ever want to find Nazis, you know, it's the current Finnish government. Bum, 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 bum. Hundreds of years ago, yeah. See, that's, as you say, that's hundreds of years ago. Nobody would have been like, some of it, even hundreds of years ago, things wouldn't recorded, etc., wouldn't known. There's a lot of things we don't know, but even hundreds of years ago. But, you know, see, 80 years ago, at least there was film, there was photos. People can associate things, and I suppose you hear when you go up, etc., you hear about it in class, etc. I suppose it's that thing too, as you say. It's a long time ago. Take, for example, 400 years ago. You know, you only have written, you don't have any photos. Obviously, photos didn't exist 400 years ago. Video didn't exist 400 years ago. You only had written kind of whatever people said in diaries or whatever. That's it. You get what I'm saying. I'm sure you get what I'm saying, but I understand what you say there, but yeah, see, I would speak about Erica, but I don't know much about the song, like in his history, how it was, you know. The only thing that's at the moment, just off talk with Nazis, etc. The only thing that's frightening at the moment, this is the thing we should be afraid of at the moment in Ireland, is Mary Lou McDonald, the Labour Party, and the People Before Profit are working together at the moment. Like, they're hand in hand in stopping the government. So that's very concerning in the next election, because pretty much it seems like Sinn Féin and the Labour Party and People Before Profit are pretty much in the same boat. So in the next election, that's probably what we're going to get. Just see Mary Lou McDonald speaking there with Ivana Bacik and Richard Boyd Ballard. So it's very concerning because they're all together. So it seems like they're up to something. But I don't know. We shall see. So yeah. Check up something. The 22nd of January. Imagine it's nearly February. Just sit there and think about that for a second. It doesn't feel like it should be nearly February. Like, next Friday is the 31st of this month, and then Sunday is the 1st. Like, where did the time go? Think about that. The 1st of February, and then we'd be speeding through to December. Like, it's February, December. You know, it's insane to think. Just looking at that, you know, you wonder where the time goes. But it's really been a hectic. I think we go on and say that this has been the most hectic January I think of my whole life, of my 21 years now. I think this has been the most hectic time for me personally. To be totally honest with you. But anyway, we should see. But anyway, anything else? We probably will leave it there for tonight, unless there's anything else anybody wants to ask me. I know I'm probably a bit tired. I feel a bit tired, to be totally honest, the last. I didn't feel that tired when I came on, but in the last few minutes, I felt I'm feeling a bit more tired. See, it's a long day. I often said about this, but it is a long day when you get up 6 o'clock, sometimes 5:30. It's a long day. When you get to this, it's a long old day. Um, is my chat broken? Maybe. I think it's fine. So I'm just looking at this. Do you want to know something just actually before I go? Do we want to know? Do you want to guess what book I'm reading at the moment? I know it sounds so stupid. What book I'm reading? Do we want to have a guess what it is? I can show you. It's on the other side of the room. We'll take a guess what it is, first of all. Oh my god, breaking the house. Breaking the place. Knocking the place down. Making a mess of this. Making a mess. Oh. Making a mess of this. I wonder if the chat broken. Let me just check, because I'm paranoid of this broken. Oh, the YouTube has done something. Let me see. No, it seems to be fine. See, I'm worried that YouTube could do something. Yeah, no, it seems fine. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I'm reading this autobiography at the moment. I'm pretty much finished it. I'm reading through it again. Let me just see how many. I counted them up the other day, but I can't remember how many pages. There is 89. On that. Say that again. Which again? Which what? There's 89 pages in this autobiography. What is the autobiography? I know I'm probably sound a bit drizzly. Because I can feel the tune in my voice, and I can feel it. I haven't got tired the last few minutes. I don't know what happened. Last few minutes, it's just my energies have dropped. I can tell by listening to myself that my brain is not working as well as it probably should be. Guess what book I'm reading. So I probably because I'm half dying. Guess the book, just for shits and giggles. So I'm just looking at that now. He's probably never seen this. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's autobiography, but not by Ho, of course. Her book is coming out October night this year, allegedly, of course. we don't know yet. Is it going to come out? Because it was supposed to come out the end of last year, but didn't. So we see. But yeah, so it's an autobiography. It's 89 pages. Now, I knew a lot about it already. I'm reading it again just to go over it. Did I miss anything, etc., etc. But I knew a lot about it already. Basically, I could have wrote an autobiography too. But yeah, but it's pretty good. I found out a few things I didn't know. But a lot of the stuff I didn't know. So just to read through it, like, read to learn more stuff as well. But yeah, so it's good. So fair play to Sean M. Williams. He's done a good job of writing it. Just to say, this is on Amazon. It's not sponsored, of course, but it's on Amazon. So if anybody wants to get around it, if you want to learn the secrets of Santa. But yeah, not so much secrets. It's kind of public secrets. There's nothing too surprising. But yeah, I think that's it, everyone. I'm probably going to go to bed within the next hour anyway, because I can feel myself. I'm very drizzy. I don't know why. All of a sudden, I got very tired. Like the early one, I was more aware. I was more awake. More able to speak and feel myself. I'm not speaking as probably good as it could be. So I think we'll leave it there. Because again, I'm getting more drizzy now and tired. So that's why I'm probably saying things elsewise. But anyway, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'll talk to you Saturday or maybe tomorrow. We'll see how the dog goes. If everything goes well, we might come on for a few minutes. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, thank you, everyone, for the moment, anyway, and enjoy the rest of the night. Bye-bye.